Hello there folks, how are you doing? It's lovely to see you again as usual, and I hope that I find you all very well. I really do hope that I find you well with all the madness that's going on in the world. Everybody take care, and do stay safe. But on a lighter note, I've got a fantastic recipe here for traditional chip shop style fish and chips. This is one of our favourite things, and I have gone all out and I have got the takeaway boxes as well, just to keep it that wee bit more authentic. But I'm telling you, see if you like chippy chips, this recipe as close as you're going to get to actual chippy chips. So there's a couple of things that you can do in advance. Obviously, make the batter, cut the chips. So that's what we're going to do first. So into your bowl, pop your plain flour. And to this, we're going to add a wee bit of baking powder. This is just going to lighten your batter. And we're also going to add a good teaspoon of salt. Some recipes say add a pinch of salt. There's no point, you can't taste it. So do add a good teaspoon of salt. Run that through a sieve just to make sure there are no light lumps. And again, it's going to keep it that wee bit lighter. This is a beer batter, so I'm going to add some beer. Whatever beer you like, beer, stout, ale, doesn't really matter. So just pop that in. That's just going to give you a lovely rich flavour. And again, it's going to give you a lovely light batter because of the bubbles that are in there. If you don't want to use beer, you can use carbonated water instead. Just give that a good whisk until it's nice and smooth and you don't have any sort of big lumpy floury bits in there. It doesn't have to be completely smooth, but do get rid of the majority of the lumps. Once you're happy, you can pop in your vinegar. The vinegar is going to give your batter a lovely crispy texture and a brilliant colour as well. This is malt vinegar, so it's the darker vinegar. Yeah, that is just wonderful in batter. Again, just give it a good stir until it's lovely and smooth. And you'll know your batter is ready. Just dip a spoon in, run your finger across the back. If it doesn't all run forward, your batter is perfect. Set that to the side. You want to let this rest for a minimum of an hour. Overnight, if you can do this the night before, that's even better. The longer you leave this, the better your batter is going to be. Moving on to the chips, I'm using Maris Piper potatoes. You want a nice dry floury potato, something like this, or King Edwards, something like that. So I'm using King Edwards. So you want to grab your tatties. The amount will obviously depend on how many you want. There are 4 of us, so I would typically do 5 or 6 potatoes because obviously you're taking the skin off and such. So just give them a good peel. Make sure there are no eyes or nasty bits in them. Once your potatoes are peeled and they're nice and smooth, just like this, you then want to cut them into nice chunky chip shapes. So I typically, for potatoes this size, I just cut them into 3 slices, nice even slices, and then cut them into 3 fingers. And that keeps them nice and uniform and chunky, just like this. These are ideal. So just go ahead and chop all of your tatties up and pop them into a bowl. My bowl is just at the back there. Now these are going to be quite starchy, so you want to get rid of the majority of the starch. So just put some cold water in, give them a good rummage around, fiddle around with your fingers and get you'll see your water getting very murky. So just drain your murky water away and cover them with fresh water. And again, set those to the side until you need them. Turn your attention to your fish. Now I'm using a deep fryer, so I didn't want whole lengths of fish, the whole fish fillet. So I've gone for quite small pieces of haddock loin. You can use haddock or cod, it's up to you. Do sprinkle some salt on both sides, and this is going to draw some of the moisture out your fish and help it firm up a good bit. You want nice dry fish. Give it about half an hour and then pat off any excess moisture that is on your fish, because if you don't do that, if you use wet fish, it has a tendency to steam inside the batter and you will end up with soggy batter. Get your flour ready for popping your fish into. This is just some seasoned plain flour, a wee bit of salt and pepper in there. Press your fish into the flour. This is going to help your batter stick to your fish better. So do that for all of your pieces of fish and just set them to the side until we need them. Easy peasy. Then go back to your chips. You just want to make sure your chips again are nice and dry. You don't want, any wet or water going near your fryer. So I just pop my chips into a clean tea towel and make sure they're lovely and dry. Just like this. So like I said, I'm using a deep fat fryer. So you want to start your oil at quite a high temperature. This is 360 Fahrenheit or 180 C. Grab your fish by one end, dip it into your batter, Make sure, you know, that you've drained most of the batter off the bottom, and lay it into your fryer. Give it a wee second just standing on its own so that it sort of seals the bottom, and lay it away from you. Give it a few seconds between slices so they don't stick together. And for fillets this size, I'm going to give these about 3 minutes on each side. Obviously this will depend on the size of your fish, so do look up, you know, what you need to do for the size of the fish that you're using. But I gave mine around about 3 minutes each side. Once it's starting to float around and goes, you know, a lovely golden colour, that usually means it's ready. And these were absolutely perfect. The batter was so crunchy, and that fish in there was lovely and moist and just falling apart. And I will show you at the end. So just keep doing this for the remainder of your fish, and I will show you how crunchy that batter is as well. It was absolutely perfect. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop the rest of my fish in just in the same way, you know, just hold it there for a wee second, just until it starts to fry on the underside, like this, just so that they don't stick together, you know, when you let it go. I mean, it's fine if you're only doing one fish, you don't have to do this method, but this just ensures, you know, that they do not stick together as they're frying. So I've just done 2 at a time. And again, just about 3 minutes on each side, and then just lift them out. Now I'm going to pop mine onto a wire rack and just keep them warm in a low oven until my chips are ready. You can do this the other way around. You can do the chips first, pop the chips into the oven while you're doing your fish. I just prefer to do it this way because I like the chips nice and fresh from the fryer. And look at that fish. Now I'm going to let you hear how crunchy this batter is. So there you go, ideal. So now what you want to do is lower the temperature of your oil. We're going to blanch the chips first, get them nice and soft, and then fire up the heat at the end to give them a sort of a lovely tough skin on the outside, and they're going to be fluffy and soft in the middle. So a very low temperature for about 5 minutes until they're lovely and soft. Don't wiggle them or move them around because you may break them. So give them 5 minutes on a very low temperature, and then whack the heat up to 360 until they're fully cooked. Now, chippy chips typically are not very coloured, you know, they're just like these, they're very pale and a wee bit soggy as well. They're never ever super crunchy, at least my chip shop is never ever super crunchy. They are when, you know, when they put them out initially, they are, but by the time you get them home or by the time you go to eat them, they are quite soft. So these were exactly what I was looking for, quite pale and just beautiful inside. We're having some mushy peas. That's the fish fillets there on top of the chips, and of course a wee wedge of lemon. And I put mine on my plate. That was just for the thumbnail, and you can see just how white and beautiful that fish is inside. We thoroughly enjoyed this. Highly recommended you give that one a go. Just before I move on, I wanted to say, as usual, a massive thank you to the supporters of the channel over on my Patreon page, and hello to the new patron who joined a couple of days ago. It's lovely to see you, and to the channel members here on YouTube as well. It's very much appreciated, guys. So I will see you next time, I think, for my wee shopping haul, and then back on Sunday for meals of the week. And the winner of the Degusta box for this month has not claimed their box yet, so I will give you another day or so. If I don't hear from you, I will donate your box to a local charity. So it's win-win each way. So mind to take care of yourselves until I see you next in this crazy world at the moment with everything that's going on. I really do hope you're staying safe, and if I do have any viewers from the Ukraine, you know, my thoughts are with you, or anyone that is affected by, like I said, what is going on in the world. So yeah, we just seem to go from one thing to the other just now. It's just mad. But anyway, thank you very much for spending the last 10 minutes with me, and I'll catch up with you off soon back here on What's for Tea. Bye now.